Hello and welcome to Grid Vision. We're excited to be here this lovely Tuesday night for some Champion Power Equipment Truck Series and Big Bad Daytona. The 2.5 miles of high octane action here as we, of course, continue on with the fall season here of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. My name is Brian Britt. Of course, later I do believe I'll be joined in the booth by Austin Edstrom. Unfortunately, he's not here yet. But of course, down behind the cameras is Austin Darbyshire. We have a lot of drivers that are signed up and ready to go here at Daytona. 3 minutes left in qualifying. All the guys going to be trying to see if they can get their best qualifying position here. Before we get too far into the race, though, let's take a look at the, of course, schedule for the remainder of the week. Of course, as you can see, we can see Champion Power Equipment Truck Series tonight. Of course, on Thursday, we're going to continue with the SSRL Truck Series. They will be at, I do believe, Richmond Raceway, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday, we're going to continue with our NIS coverage. That'll be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. Top split action will start there at Las Vegas. For Saturday, we're not going to have really anything going on. I know in a couple weeks, though, we'll have some more majors competition going on. Sunday, we'll have a doubleheader. Las Vegas Motor Speedway there in the Global Racing Truck Series at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, Las Vegas as well going to be later that night, 9 p.m. And the Xfinity car with the RGR Kailu Glass Cup Xfinity Series. And that's a look top to bottom at what we have going on all week long. And of course, we've had some technical difficulties earlier in the week, but I think we've got them all pretty much ironed out. Let's take a look at the points coming into tonight's race. John Lucido at the top of the board. One of the best performances we've seen from him really in any season of competition. We've seen him in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. James South, of course, tied. Well, actually, no, 1 point below Lucido here for second place. James Harris is actually tied with James South. So battle of the Jameses for the second place position. Of course, Justin Levine, he's in fourth. Craig Yanzak is in fifth. Keegan Sobilo is in sixth place. Of course, Nathan Meyer is in seventh. Brad Thacker is in eighth place position. Sean Boundy is in ninth and 10th. Robert Wynn, very, very close in the points. I mean, we can see these guys pretty much, I think, first to 10th, only separated by just a handful of points. I mean, about less than 10 points separate those drivers. So that's going to be crazy to see how this kind of unfolds. Of course, Daytona, in a lot of ways, is a roulette wheel. A lot of these guys are going to be hoping they survive to the end. Of course, speaking of some of the details of the race, 60 laps here, 35 laps of fuel going to be, these guys are pretty much going to have to play with. 3 sets of tires down in the pits. So definitely going to be curious to see how that works out. 1 fast repair as well. As we take a look at the temperature of the racetrack right now, I do believe about 70 or so degrees at the moment. 80 degrees actually on the track. So a little bit hotter on the racetrack. Shouldn't cause too many issues for these drivers. Tire wear not going to really be a big deal. It's pretty much just going to be wide open, 3 wide, 4 wide, possibly even here at Daytona. So I'm definitely excited to see how this all plays out. A little less than 20 seconds now in qualifying. George Young right now at the top of the board. And still, some guys still turning laps in. I know Sean Boundy just turned a lap in. Craig Ganzak just turned a lap in. But George Young, I think, is going to continue to rest atop the points, or should I say the qualifying pylon. Friday, I think we got the grid set. We'll go ahead and go through the starting grid. As I mentioned, George Young, he's going to have the pole position. Justin Levine, last second, comes in second place. Of course, Craig Ganzak, third place. Sean Boundy is going to be starting in fourth. Mark Math starting in fifth place. Sixth place, Robert Lawrence. Seventh place, Jessica Childs. Eighth place, Jason Taylor. Ninth, John Lucido. 10th place, Andrew Hale. Of course, Kevin Kirchar, glad to see him in competition. He was here last week, definitely did pretty good. He's in 11th. 12th place, James Harris. 13th, Tyler Meeks. 14th, Brad Thacker. 15th, Keegan Sobilo. 16th, Brian Whitney. 17th, Nathan Meyer. James South, of course, starts in 18th. William Mann Jr. in 19th. Robert Wynn in 20th. And rounding out this 21-car field is Brandon Ball. As we wait for the rest of the drivers to get to the grid here, but that is a look top to bottom, 21-car field, and that is going to be quite a lot of drivers to be around this racetrack. We're going to see them all probably condensed in in a big pack. Could we see something go wrong? I think we will. I think these guys have definitely been aggressive all season long, and some of the drivers out here as well, like Sean Boundy, James Harris, Craig Anzac, were in competition last night in the Grid Vision Super Speedway Series. They, of course, raced at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Xfinity car, and that was quite some intense action. They, I do believe, are probably going to still be, I'd say, somewhat definitely ready for action from last night. I mean, that is definitely a way to condition yourself, is racing there at that racetrack. And then here we are at Daytona. I can't wait to see how these guys behave on this racetrack. George Young, first pole, I do believe, of the season. Just because of the simple fact this race is probably going to go by very quickly, and we're going to be calling the race quite a bit. I think I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to the title sponsor while we have a moment. Of course, that being Champion Power Equipment. If you're looking for reliable and high-performance power equipment to help you tackle any job, look no further than Champion Power Equipment. Whether you're in need of a portable generator, pressure washer, or any other power tool, Champion has you covered with top-of-the-line products at affordable prices. And as a proud sponsor of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, we're excited to bring you even more power and performance on and off the track. Visit championpowerequipment.com today to learn more. It looks like everybody is rolling right now, or in the midst of turn one and turn two. We saw some racing this season as well at Talladega, so these guys no stranger to plate racing. We're going to see probably speeds of in excess of 180 mile an hour, and these trucks, I'll tell you, they're the funnest, I think, vehicles when it comes to driving on these super speedway-like tracks, these 2.5 mile tracks. They don't have a whole lot of power, but I'll tell you, when you get them into a pack, they just become so much fun. They're very easy. It's a lot easier to push with these race cars than you can see in possibly the Xfinity car. As you can see, we're getting ready to enter turn 3 and 4. George Young definitely going to be excited to get this thing started. I don't know, though. A lot of times qualifying on the pole at super speedways is not really, it's a good thing, I'd say, to have track position, but it also can be a little bit of a stressful thing, considering you're going to have everybody right behind you ready to draft up to you and take your position. A lot of times the leader at super speedways is a lot like a sitting duck. Also, though, at super speedways like Daytona, the top line is going to be really strong, but it also could become disorganized. So what can Justin Levine do to possibly get this running? I know he said to watch out. He was going to put on a really great show for us tonight, so we're going to keep an eye on the 33. Green flag is out for the first time here in Champion Power Equipment Truck Series competition. And George Young getting some big pushes from Craig Anzac as they head off into turn number 1. Craig Anzac doing a fantastic job. Of course, if you saw that race car last night, or should I say his Xfinity car last night, he missed his front bumper and still managed to finish 4th. I wonder how he's going to do here today. As you see the top line really starting to organize on the back stretch. Big pushes coming in from the 34 of Sean Boundy. As well as you see behind Boundy, I do believe is Robert Lawrence in the 5 machine. A lot of guys trying to make moves. You also see the 199 of Mark Math trying to see if he could possibly get up to the back end of Craig Anzac to give that bottom line more speed. This is what it's all going to be about generating energy, generating momentum. You have to be able to work together here at these style tracks. We complete lap number 1. Justin Levine leading that lap, so he has got the first lap led. As we take a look on board on the roof cam, I do believe, of Craig Anzac, and you can see how packed in tight these race car drivers are. Wow, love the camera work we're getting out of Boston Derbyshire. A tier producing here. As of course we file back into 3 and 4 here. You can tell George Young on the bottom starting to get a little bit loose down there in that Yingling's machine. As you can see right behind the race car of Mark Matt. Now, one thing that's very difficult about a track like this is visibility, especially in these trucks. A lot of times you're sitting in the cockpit of one of these things and you're following right behind, inches off of somebody's back bumper. It's very difficult to see that yellow line and see exactly where the entry to the turn is. But Justin Levine, for the second time, leads a lap here. And this has definitely been quite a show. Double file pretty much this entire race thus far. And we still got a long way to go. A lot of big wiggles going on a little bit further back. I see William Mann Jr. moving around a lot. You also see some guys that are possibly in danger of losing the draft. That is Keegan Sabila actually started from the pits, I do believe. Brandon Ball and Nathan Meyer in danger of maybe losing the draft here. They are now one good thing about this truck that is not like the next gen is the next gen is very hard to catch back up. But I think these guys will be fine. I think they'll be fine. Big move up towards the front though. Sean Boundy up in the lead. He is, of course, up in front of Robert Lawrence now. We've seen the line switch sides. Justin Levine was up on top, has now jumped to the bottom in front of George Young. Top line has left him behind. And it looks like, of course, this is classic Daytona. Here comes Robert Lawrence, though. He is not content to push Sean Boundy. And look at how more momentum the bottom line gets because of the 5-car. Wow, a lot of big wiggling going on, though, from Justin Levine as he tries to square up with the back bumper of Robert Lawrence. Top line, I suspect, is probably going to generate another run here very soon. As well as you see Andrew Hale, I do believe, has entered up into the fray as well. He's in 7th place right now. And remember how tight these points are coming into this race. Levine jumps up ahead of Boundy. Boundy going to see if he can possibly push Levine to the lead here. Top line has been the strongest line thus far here. As look at just the run they're able to really manifest up there. I think if I was in the position of Justin Levine, I think I would stay up here. I don't know if I would jump in between the lanes. I think the top line, if you got a partner, a dancing partner that you're really comfortable with pushing you, you want to stay with that guy, I do believe. You don't want to leave him hanging. And I think he might have found that with Sean Boundy. We'll have to see if that's the case. Of course, I know Levine wanting probably to work with James South. George Young, got to give him a lot of credit. Staying up here at the top 5. He qualified on the pole. Has not led, I do believe, a lap yet. But he has definitely been doing a fantastic job pushing Robert Lawrence. We're seeing a lot of guys wiggling. That's going to be, you're going to hear me say that a lot here tonight. Guys wiggling. Look at the 55. I barely recognize James Harris's new machine. He's got an Allegiance paint scheme there. Blue, I believe, with some gold numbers or orange numbers. Love that paint scheme. So a lot of guys kind of trying to throw us off a little bit here. As well as we see Jessica Childs. Rarely get to see Jessica in these races, but glad to see her out here in competition here today and doing a fine job. Running right on the edge in 10th place. A lot of these guys, I think, are being really careful. Do not want to make a mistake, because any mistake could lead to you expending that faster pair. Of course, Justin Levine getting another big run up top with the aid of Sean Boundy. Jason Taylor as well now entering the mix. 3 wide. James Harris in the middle. Hale getting left out. And still 3 wide as Brian Whitney takes advantage. And it looks like we're joined in the booth by, of course, my broadcast partner, Austin Edstrom. You're late. That makes you C-class, or C tier.
That might put me down to D tier. I might be a little bit below our producer here tonight, unfortunately, but it looks like we got a good race. Good showing that I've just jumped into is Justin Levine and Sean Boundy are side by side for the race lead. 2 distinct lines all the way throughout the field. Not really a third line developing yet, but man, still hard racing all throughout the field. Just trying to get every position you can at this early part of the race. Trying to position yourself up towards the front, especially for that pit stop. You want to be as close up to the front as possible. So now do I think we're going to get the green flag pit stop from the little bit I've been seeing? Maybe not. It looks like they're running pretty hard as the 15 might get shuffled out of line just a little bit. But it looks like the 55 of Harris actually lifts just a little bit to let the 15 down back in line as they come off of turn 4.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of guys starting to wiggle quite a bit, and it's very hard, it's very easy, I think, to just make one little mistake. That's all it takes, just a little touch in the wrong way, and that could set off a chain reaction of just destroyed vehicles. And I think we're probably going to see that very soon. I hate to doubt these guys, but I mean, I just know that anything could go wrong at just a moment's notice. That's just how tracks like Daytona are. Everything's calm, and then all of a sudden it all blows up.
Yeah, it just takes one minor push gone wrong where you just think you're helping the guy in front of you, but maybe that guy in front of you is right hooked up on the bumper in front of them, and then they just have nowhere to go, and it turns either one of the guys getting pushed, and it just causes an absolutely massive stack up. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that tonight. I mean, there's just a lot going on. I mean, plate racing, I just love it. It's so much fun on this game. You live and you die by the sword in it. It's a little bit of luck based, but also the good drivers really tend to push themselves up towards the front. And that's what we're seeing with Levine and Bounty up here in the front. They've been at the front for many of the races this year, and they are still finding themselves at a plate track up towards the top of the field, leading both lines right now. Honestly, I'm not surprised.
No, I'm not either. I mean, you got to keep in mind as well. I mean, I know you don't have anything to do with the Revision Super Speedway series, but they are involved in that, and that kind of cuts their teeth a little bit. Running in that series, gets them ready for these plate races that we see. Of course, Robert Lawrence had made a bold move to jump down onto the apron to get out of the mess. I think he saw something that maybe we didn't. That something was getting ready to go wrong, and he didn't want to have a part of it. He falls back to almost the end of the field. Of course, he is able to, I do believe, jump in front of another driver. I think that is Brad Thacker. I think he jumped up in front of us. We see 77. Keegan Sabilo, who started in the pits, he unfortunately has just gone a lap down as a result of that decision. Now, I actually understand that decision, just considering the simple fact. Most of the time, that's probably a smart call when you're at these super speedways, but it does not seem to be the case here. We've been 11 laps green.
As long as he gets that caution that he needs and holds on to that lucky dog spot, he'll be fine. But man, we've seen hard racing up towards the front of the field as another guy shuffles out of pack. Couldn't quite tell who that is down on the bottom of the racetrack, but just I think that they see that's Yanzak. I think he sees the shuffling in front of him just a little bit, and he's like, maybe I'm a little nervy. Maybe I need to get out of here a little bit. Just seeing how crazy they're racing up towards the front. We saw Bounty jump in front of Levine, and then we saw Levine leave him out to dry, go to the outside, and then as soon as Taylor got clear of Levine, he jumped down to the bottom of the racetrack. So I think a couple of these guys might just be seeing that and thinking, I'm going to back out towards the back of this a little bit. Really surprised to see James South running in the top 5, though. That's kind of surprising.
Well, I'll tell you, you would have loved it yesterday. He wrecked 2 people, and it was like you would have loved that. But we were talking mad trash about him in your spirit. But I'll tell you, this has been some exciting racing. I almost thought that the powder keg was getting ready to go off just now. I mean, we saw James Harris jump down in front of Jason Taylor. It looks like Taylor's had enough. He's going to try to fall back to the back as well. A lot of these guys are not liking the way the atmosphere here. They feel like it's flammable. As we see Justin Levine jumps down, and now South and him have linked together. James South started this race all the way back, I do believe, in 18th or 19th, and now is up in the top 2.
Yeah, I think he heard me talking crap on the broadcast, and now he's like, well, I'm going to put this thing up to the front, and I'm just going to push my teammate here at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if he jumped out. He's a pretty bad teammate, so I wouldn't be surprised if he left Justin Levine out to dry. But running 1-2 right now in the grid vision paints looks pretty good on broadcast.
No, they definitely do look really good out there, and it's going to be tough to beat them as well. Because I mean, if they work together well, I think it's going to be tough. But then again, we got our points leader, John Lucido. Got to give him a ton of credit being in the points lead. This is probably his best season that we've seen him thus far.
I told you he was a bad teammate.
And he's right there in that 5th place position. He's been pushing that top line, and there's the bad teammate, like you were saying. He jumps up in front of Brian Whitney. Of course, Whitney, recently I think he rejoined the scene. I don't think he's new to the series, but he has rejoined the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series and has done it, hit the ground running, really, that 30 car.
Yeah, he's done a great job here. I mean, pushing James South up to the lead. Really tough to push James South to the lead at any racetrack, much less Daytona. So really good job from Whitney here, getting all over the back bumper of that grid vision paint scheme, trying to get that outside line working, because it's not going to come from the car in front. It's got to be from that car in second place with the driver that's leading the outside line. But you can see that outside line's just going back a little bit, losing a little bit of momentum, but they are stacked up pretty heavily on the outside line. You would think maybe they would get a push, but they actually just start spreading out, fanning out. Looks like they're side by side for about the P3 position on the outside line now, but they all duck back into place, trying to form that outside line up once again.
And it looks like a lot of these drivers are just wanting to take these runs every chance they get. I think when they see that line kind of check up, they're like, I can't let this run go. And they try to jump up to the high side or something like that. But then they realize that they're hit that, yellow flag is out. And I think this could very well be possibly a competition caution. See anybody I don't believe that has wrecked. Maybe Brandon Ball here. I didn't actually get the information whether we're going to have a competition caution here this evening. But I don't see too many trucks with heavy damage. So this, I do believe this will serve as a competition caution here. I don't see anybody that really got hurt in this situation. Going to allow these guys to go down pit road. fill it up with some gas. Of course, still not going to make it to where they can make it to the end, though, considering the fuel window is 35 laps. But definitely going to let these guys calm down a little bit. I mean, because they were getting pretty excitable. But, I mean, glad to see we're having a green race.
Does that give Sabilo the lucky dog by any chance?
It very well should have. If he did not get any 0Xs or anything like that, he should very well get that lucky dog. And that'll be a save, somewhat of salvation there for him. So we'll see if the 77 is going to get that wave around. But while we do have a moment, I think now's a good time. We'll take a step away, pay a little bit of attention to our sponsors. We'll come right back with some more of this excitement here in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series on Grid Vision.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grid Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I have Austin Edstrom as my co-commentator. Austin Darmashire, of course, down behind the cameras. And I know Austin Edstrom wants to roast James South a little bit more. You got the floor.
Well, whenever James South isn't making mistakes on the racetracks, he's making mistakes in the paint booth, as I make mistakes in the broadcast booth. James South not putting the correct banner on the windshield, that's going to cost him a couple costly championship points whenever he's actually tied for P2 right now. So no matter how good he finishes here, he's probably not going to be able to take the points lead, even though he maybe could with how far up the field he's running. So you got to think that's a big misstep from the 21. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't change it in your paint booth, but unfortunate for him. But at the end of the day, that's a he kind of did it to himself. But you know, you've got two grid vision cars up on the front row, James South and Justin Levine putting on a good show, and everybody else too. I mean, Harris, Boundy, and Math have been putting up a really good show. Whitney all up towards the front. I mean, that last run was extremely entertaining, and I can't wait to get the next, 43 laps under our way. I mean, it's just going to be so good with amazing racing all throughout.
No, I definitely agree. I think it's going to be some exciting racing. I think it's going to get even more intense if we could even see that being, I can't imagine it getting more intense, but I think it will be as we enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out in the air. Of course, South and Levine did take fuel only on that stop. Shouldn't be a problem, but really good start for South and really good start for Harris. They're going to get that top line or bottom line going really well, but unfortunately, Math did not get going. But it looks like, I do believe Whitney jumped down to the bottom. He's going to try to aid that top two.
Yeah, it looks like that outside line's just a little bit better lined up coming off the corner. With them holding even throughout the corner, you got to think that they're going to get a decent run down the backstretch as Justin Levine pulls nose to nose with his teammate of James South on the inside as he's getting a huge push from Sean Boundy. Those two were going at it for the race lead not too long ago, but now they're helping each other on the outside line down into turn 3.
Yeah, looks like the bottom line, though, is going to surge ahead on the entry of turn 3 here. James Harris doing a fantastic job of pushing the 21 of South. Of course, you see the Jameses are working well together. You got to give them a lot of credit there. I don't know if it's because they have the same name, first name, I should say. It looks like that's why they're working so good together. But top line, keeping it neck and neck. They're keeping the bottom line honest. You can tell that for sure as we see pretty much neck and neck. Oh, Harris comes up a little bit, gets really close to Levine. But it looks like bottom line is going to surge ahead now. Does South jump up? Oh, Whitney thinking about taking him 3 wide. It looks like South goes to the top.
Yeah, South was trying to get in front of his teammate Levine in the outside line, but the 55 of James Harris just kind of drifted up with him. He saw the car in front going up, and he thought, I'm going to follow him through. I'm just going to follow the car in front of me. That's kind of what you expect to do at a super speedway kind of race, but it just didn't really work out, and it almost got him turned over the nose of Whitney. I think Whitney cut him a little bit of a break coming off of turn 2, but now James Harris to the lead in that Allegiant 55 truck. Really good looking paint scheme, and he's got Whitney right behind him.
No, I had said something about that earlier, about that paint scheme. Looks really well done for sure. Of course, he has got Whitney with him. They're working very well together. As South tries to join up with his teammate, let's see if this helps him at all. It looks like maybe they're just not, those grid vision cars just doesn't seem to line up very well. But we'll have to see. It looks like they're surging ahead on the backstretch here. Sean Boundy giving some good pushes. Kevin Kirchar, of course, right there in line as well. As you see the bottom line, I think they're starting to lose the momentum. Top line is starting to gain it back. I don't know. Here comes Harris, though, on the exit of 4.
Yeah, you would think the teammates would have oh, man, they get 3 wide coming out of turn 4. Just a little bit of a wobble there from the 4th place driver on the outside. I couldn't quite tell who that is. I think that's Kirchar. He got a little wiggly off the outside, but you would think that the teammates on the outside line would be working a little bit better. And, Justin Levine's got over a 6,000 I rating, so you think he could push anybody in the service. So this is just really a testament to how poor of a driver James South is to just kind of have a tough time on the outside line with somebody like Justin Levine behind him and letting that inside line go. I mean, Whitney is all over the back bumper of the 55, but finally the outside line gets a little bit of a push coming out of turn 2 and all the way down the back.
I'm telling you, they're going to call somebody on you. You're talking so much trash about now. Somebody's going to be like, leave him alone. They're going to think you're being serious.
I might need to turn it down a little bit.
It's hilarious, though. I absolutely love it. As Harris, of course, continuing to keep those top guys, that top line honest right now. And you can just see guys trying to make moves. It's starting to see a lot of wiggling, a lot of shuffling, a lot of, if you will, quakes throughout this field. Guys dipping down below the apron. You see John Lucido. I'd like to take maybe a cockpit camera from Lucido. You can probably see a lot of how hard it is to see visibility-wise through the cockpit camera here of a race car. Take a look right here, and it's very hard to see that yellow line, especially if you're right on the back of somebody. You can see Lucido's kind of backing off. He's wanting to take it a little bit easier. He's being a little bit cautious as they enter turn 3. But you can see in the corner, that's when that yellow line becomes harder to see. But luckily for him, Math in front of him is kind of staying a little bit higher off of that yellow line.
Yeah, it's a really tough thing to follow a truck, especially if you're right on their bumper, as you see Lucido get up to the back bumper of Math, and he actually misses the bottom just a little bit getting into the tri-oval. Really easy to do whenever you're tucked up under somebody. But whenever you're following somebody that close, you're really just trusting the guy in front of you, who's trusting the guy in front of him, who's trusting the guy in front of him, who's trusting the guy in front of him. And that's why we see so many accidents at this racetrack, and Talladega for that matter. And especially in the trucks, these things, they can take a push decently well, but you can easily get somebody sideways if you hit them just wrong. You just offset maybe to the left a little bit in the middle of the corner, and it just sends somebody around in front of the pack. But man, they're getting super racy towards the back. They're trying to make it 3 wide on the outside, going into turn number 3. It looks like Kerchar throws a massive block on. I believe that's Yanzak way out on the outside. Does Levine go up to block him, or does he stay in the middle lane? It looks like they're committed to the middle right now. The 2 grid vision cars in the middle, as Kerchar is trying to make that outside line work around both of them.
It looks like they're definitely making that line work. 91, of course, has some very talented company right there behind him. Of course, that being Craig Ganzak, and it looks like some other drivers deciding to go up there as well. I do believe I see Robert Lawrence as William Mann Jr. making that third groove work. We'll see if how this is going to play out. I mean, the 91's getting some big runs. Now, this is just scary. I think it's way too early in the race to be risking 3 wide right now.
Yeah, but you can't tell a race car driver not to race. I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's no risk to it. Now we got 2 grid vision cars holding up the 2 bottom lanes, and Kerchar is coming on the outside with a huge push from Yanzak. Oh, they're turned! They're getting hooked in the middle of the pack. Yanzak gets hooked towards the exit of turn number 3 into turn 4, and that's going to take out half the pack. Brian Britt, you were absolutely right. It was too early for that, and you got to think those race car drivers are going to be a little upset that they were racing.
Yeah, unfortunately, and that's going to use a lot of guys as faster pairs. You see, of course, that was the pole sitter right there, George Young. He turned around the wrong way as we're on lap 25. Caution flag is out. You can see somebody's bumper laying in the grass down there on the bottom of the racetrack. As we take a look back at the replay, things look calm, and all of a sudden it all broke out, and that's how Daytona usually is. And right there, you see George Young goes up a little too high, and I do believe got William Mann Jr., and just look how violent this crash was. I mean, wow.
One of the rare kind of, it happens all the time at super speedways, but it's kind of specific to super speedways where the wreck actually happened in the 3rd lane. We see it here. That's the 3rd lane from the inside, or on the middle, and it actually collects the 2nd lane drivers, both in the middle and the outside line. So just kind of a tough break for all those guys, because the wreck happened behind Yanzak, and he somehow gets collected into it. That's unbelievably frustrating. You think you have it cleared, and then you just get hooked right in the left rear, as the guy under him got hooked right in the right rear. He had nothing to do with it either, so just super unfortunate for a lot of these guys who had nothing to do with that. We're going to ride on board with the Yanzak, and you're going to see he did not see this coming. He just all of a sudden gets turned into the outside wall and has nothing to do with it.
No, he could not have seen this coming, and he was just doing his job of pushing Kevin Kerchar. That's exactly what he was doing, and it was working out for him. They were really being very competitive up on that top side, and unfortunately, luckily Kerchar escaped without any issues for sure. See a lot of drivers coming to pit road. I'm sure a lot of them are probably going to be using some faster pairs. You can see from a different angle here how quickly this just broke out right there. And look, just you see George Young just meeting in the middle there, and look at how violent Mark Math got slung out into the wall. Wow.
I believe everybody got away without blowing their motor, though. That's the important thing, not having to take the tow and losing the lap. So I think luckily everybody was able to get back to pit road under their own power, I believe. I don't think I'm seeing anybody that's gone a lap down yet. So I believe everybody got relatively lucky in that to where they can get that faster pair on. But you got to think the luckiest guys in the field are the guys that came out in the top 5 there that didn't get any damage from that, because you really want that faster pair for later in the race in case you need to use it. But unfortunately for a lot of these guys, it is gone on lap 25.
No, 100%. That is definitely going to be a resource that you're going to want to have later in this race. Unfortunately, they don't have it anymore, and that means you're going to have to not be quite as, I think, risky. You're not going to be able to make as risky of maneuvers. Like you said, racers are going to be racers. They're probably still going to do it though. But taking a look, let's give a quick shout out to another partner here with the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Of course, that being Blackstone Management Partners. Blackstone Management Partners guarantees an unrivaled one-on-one approach to every client, providing them with solutions and services required to keep their dynamic brands thriving and one step ahead of the ever-changing consumer marketplace. Blackstone comprises expertise in marketing, communication, talent management, and event management. Working with their clients, they not only use traditional but state-of-the-art platforms, including mobile marketing, investigative marketing, and cause-driven marketing. Visit them at bsmpartners.com today. Definitely appreciate them being a partner here with the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Justin Levine, of course, leads us. Pace car lights should be going off very soon, as we see some drivers even coming back down pit road again, I do believe, trying to get some damage fixed. And I think that's a smart call. I think you go down pit road, if you don't have to use your faster pair, try to get as much as you can without it. And it looks like pace car lights are out. While we have a quick moment, I think we could maybe chat with Justin right quick. Justin Levine, our leader. See if we can't grab him up. Looks like he is not in the same Discord as we are. I thought we were going to have the chance to, because he had offered his in-race reporter services. So he's the bad driver now, Austin.
He's C-tier driver. We got a C-tier producer, D-tier commentator with me. I mean, it's just going off the rails at this point. I don't even know what to say. I'm just kind of glad James South isn't in the Discord. I'd rather pull up Levine than South. I don't know. I'm fine with them being in a different Discord at this point.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate. I would have been curious to see what he saw in that crash. You know, definitely was a big one for sure. Looks like we're getting ready to get us back going. Well, of course, I think he has now just joined the Discord, but they're getting ready to enter 3 and 4. The green flag is getting ready to fly. I think if we see another caution, we'll see if we can dial him up next time. I definitely, I don't know if I want to have him in this Discord while they're going out there at 180 plus mile an hour. I mean, a lot of times the expletives fly, I'd say, when you're going that fast, Austin.
Yeah, I think he'd do a good job biting his tongue. I feel like I would have done it at Talladega, but I didn't get any. I didn't get to be pulled up, so you know, it is what it is. It's the C-tier producing right there.
Man, we're just insulting everybody today.
Big roast. But anyway, the pace car is pulling off the racetrack right now, coming down pit road. We're going to get back to green flag racing as we've got Levine and James Harris on the ends or on the front row. Justin Levine gets a relatively good jump, and that outside line is completely discombobulated. But Levine actually jumps up to the top to block the 55, taking the run away from him. I don't really think the 55 had much of a run. I expect Levine to go back down to the bottom as soon as he has the opportunity, but he looks like he's committed with the 55 right now on the outside, has a little bit more help. They're coming from behind with Lucido and Kirchar on the outside, but it looks like that inside line's starting to form up as well as Whitney is leading that pack.
Yeah, first time we've really seen Nathan Meyer up in the top 5. Of course, he's been looking pretty good this season, the 24 machine. He's right there with Whitney, giving him some pretty good pushes, but it looks like the top line starting to move, but look at that. Harris jumps down in front of Whitney. And, of course, Lucido joins up with Justin Levine, as well as Kirchar. This is the driver I'm really watching. The 91 has been willing to take these risky moves, and it seems like it's been paying off. Does he try to make that third lane work again?
They got so iffy through the tri-oval. I thought we were about to get a huge wreck. I was literally warming up my vocal cords to start yelling. I thought we were dying in the exit of the tri-oval. Levine kind of swerved down to the bottom of the racetrack. I think he got a weird push there from the 73 of John Lucido, but ultimately nobody got any contact, so we're all good. And now they're side by side for the race lead again as Levine jumped down to the bottom lane, and that leaves the outside open to the 73 of Lucido, who's getting a heavy push from Kirchar down the backstretch and down into turn number 3.
And look at that. It's also who's entered the fray. Keegan Sabila, who was a lap down earlier in this event, now is up here in the top 6, trying to see if he could possibly work his way up into contention here. As we see Kirchar trying to push Lucido, trying to get square with that back bumper. Side by side still for the lead. As, of course, Levine working with James Harris. Let's see if they're going to be able to make anything happen. It looks like no one really has the advantage right now. It seems like both lines are, I think, that about the same speed. Oh, Lucido getting a little bit wiggly there. Almost came down into Harris. That could have went terribly.
They're just side draft. Oh, man, bumping down the backstretch. I mean, my goodness, there's not any room between these guys. Side drafting massively down the backstretch. Side drafting just as big in the corners, honestly, with Lucido coming down in the middle of 1 and 2, trying to get on that right rear quarter panel of the 55. Doesn't look like he's going to quite work out. He actually side drafts Levine coming off of turn number 4 heavy. And then the 91's able to get back to his back bumper and give him a push to the line. Lucido's going to lead this lap as he led the last, but it looks like Levine might be able to get another run, build up from the 55 and from the 30 behind. Can they get the lead back from that outside line?
I'm a little bit scared. I think that this is, I think Lucido's taking too many risks here with this side draft. I think, you know, this is, we just crossed the halfway point. I don't know if you get that close to the guys down below you. I mean, you're giving a lot of trust to those race car drivers down below. I mean, all it takes is one little wiggle. And you know, Harris has already been looking like he's been wiggling on that bottom side. All it takes is one little bad, you know, move, a little little bit of a loose condition from Harris. He goes up a little bit into Lucido, and everything goes wrong. So I think that Lucido is taking too many chances here.
Yeah, and if it's anything like the last time, I mean, last time that the caution came out, you had just said it was too early to be racing like that, and then they just started wrecking. So if you, I'd be a little worried here, and oh my goodness, I'm going to need your lottery numbers because it looks like they might start wrecking here pretty soon right after you mentioned that about Lucido. He actually got side drafted from Kirchard. That allowed Sabilo to get to the outside going into turn number 1 of Kirchard, but nobody went with the 77, and that's going to allow that bottom lane to just pull away as the outside lines help just kind of dissipated. It's going to take some time for them to kind of get accordion back up together there on that outside line. Unless somebody just dumps out a line, it looked like Whitney might try it down the back, but he decided to stay in tow with the 55. But now the 55 pops out to the outside of Levine going into 30.
Yeah, man, I'm surprised they kept that together. That was looking like something was getting ready to go wrong. Kirchard, he pretty much just tried to reject James Harris. I mean, Harris is trying to get pushes from the 91, and the 91 was like, I'm not having any of it. I'm going to the top. But unfortunately, I think he's been forced to push the 55 here as the top line tries to reorganize. Robert Lawrence as well is in the picture. Justin Levine, he thinking about jumping up in front of Harris, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. We waited too late. Oh, look at Lucido, huge block.
Second. Oh, he gets turned by Kirchard. Lucido down into Levine, spins down into the inside, just about to the inside wall. The caution's going to come out. But wow, Lucido got turned from Kirchard after Lucido tried to throw a block on Harris, and down into Levine he went. I believe those were the only 2 drivers involved.
Yeah, unfortunately, that would not have brought a caution out, but luckily the admins, I think, felt sorry for Lucido and threw it for him. And that is going to kind of save him from possibly going a lap down. Luckily, Lucido did not really hit anything very hard. He could have easily hit that inside wall and destroyed his race. So that's going to be a big, I think, a boon of going to definitely save him for sure. As we're going to take another look back at this. And you can see, wow, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Levine might have some front nose damage after that.
It's cranking up a little bit. It's not too bad. I could maybe see that being a fixable kind of damage where you don't want to use the fast repair. You know, there's still 25 laps left. You never know what you're going to get involved in. I feel like that's probably just damage that you're going to want to let the pit crew repair rather than using the fast repair. It's not too bad. Just crinkled up a little bit. I think that's fixable, and he can get back on his way, but still unfortunate nonetheless. You just saw Kirchard was trying to follow Harris on the outside line. Harris came down a little bit as Lucido got stuck in the middle, and I think Kirchard just expected him to go a little bit lower, or maybe he was even trying to push Lucido. I really couldn't tell. He was kind of committed to 2 different lanes at the same time and just popped the 77 in the back, coming down the backstretch. Unfortunate incident, but whenever you're racing that hard, that's what you kind of come to expect.
All right, it looks like everybody should be possibly coming down pit road here, just considering this does allow everybody to make it to the end on fuel. So I would expect everybody's going to come down pit road, possibly not taking tires, but definitely going to fuel up the vehicles. Oh, no, some guys have elected to stay out. James Harris, Kevin Kirchard, as well as Nathan Meyer. So some guys electing to stay out while some come in. I think that's a big sign that I think they expect another caution. But while we, of course, wait for the green flag to come back out, we'll take another step away. We'll be right back with some more action on Grid Vision.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Alrighty, we are back with Grid Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series here at Daytona. Of course, we're going to be joined in the booth by Justin Levine. Justin, I know you were just kind of involved in a little bit of a crash there with, I do believe, a car getting turned down in front of you. What was it from your perspective? Did you have to use a fast repair?
No, we had a few seconds there. Just came in, top it off, and make sure everything was fully repaired. But we'll be back up front pretty soon.
Now, how's the truck been handling out there? It seems like a lot of wiggles, a lot of aggressiveness out there.
If you start trying to control the lines and diving up and down, it gets loose on you. I almost actually lost it trying to block James there earlier. But you just got to be very smooth with the wheel, and you'll be able to hold on.
All right. Well, we definitely wish you all the best there. It's definitely been very entertaining. What's the strategy? How are you going to get back to the front?
Take whatever gap is open. I like to go with the momentum, even if it only works for a corner. So we're going to play chess at 170 mile an hour here.
All right. We love to hear it. We'll let you get back to it. Good luck.
Thank you.
All righty, that was Justin Levine, of course, down there on the racetrack, driver of the 33. Definitely been running really good here tonight, and glad it wasn't too much damage. 11 seconds, not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Gonna let him get back out there without the fast repair. Probably not down on any horsepower whatsoever. I'm sure he did a little check there with the clutch pedal, and I'm sure he'll find his way back up to the front at some point, but he is mired back in traffic now. Way towards the back in 20th place, but the pace car is about to pull off as we've got James Harris and Kevin Kirchar leading the field back to green.
And here we go, green flag, going to be flying once again. Harris up through the gears. Kevin Kirchar, of course, not getting as good of a start. And it looks like he's going to be hoping that Mark Matz can kind of push him to get that speed. And it looks like they are going to be side by side, possibly for the lead into 1 and 2. Looks like Harris, though, definitely relying very well on the 24, as well as Craig Ganzak up in the top 5. He hasn't been up here quite a bit, hasn't been up here a lot here tonight.
Well, the one time he tried to get up there, he got turned from 2 lanes back. So good to see him back up in the fight, though, after he used that fast repair. That's Craig Ganzak there down on the bottom, 3rd car in line. But, man, the race for the lead, I mean, it just seems like every time somebody gets a little bit of a run out of the corner, the other lane gets a bigger run as the 91 side drafts up 55 heavily coming out of turn number 4, and the 91's going to be able to beat him back to the line with a push from Mark Math.
I mean, this side drafting is crazy. I mean, these guys are getting so close to that bottom line. I mean, Kirchar was touching Nathan Meyer there for a second. I mean, he was literally touching his door with the race car. I mean, these guys are showing so much trust. If one of these guys comes up off the bottom just a hair, I think they're involved in a wreck. So, but still, I mean, I guess we are getting closer and closer to that time where it is go time, but 23 laps to go, coming up to 22. Is it still too early? Kirchar jumps down in front of Harris.
I was just about to say, as we get closer to the finish of this race, it's going to get a little bit hairier. As Mark Math just about comes down into the 91. They just didn't have the overlap. I thought the 91 was about to go head on the wall. But, man, they're scrambling behind multiple drivers down on the apron trying to avoid an accident that could have happened. But, man, they're side by side for the lead. We're 3 wide for 3rd.
Yeah, the race is definitely getting even more intense. Of course, you see that top line is led by Sean Boundy. Boundy, I do believe, being pushed. Possibly, I think that is the 77 of Keegan Sobilo, giving him some bumps. Justin Levine, who started, I do believe, back in 20th on this last restart, has already worked his way up into 8th place. So I think damage is not a concern for that race car. As Andrew Hale as well throwing some blocks on James South. Still 3 wide in the mid-pack as we see guys trying to work their way forward. Mark Math for the first time up in the lead.
I feel like it's about to happen. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're all over the place. Mark Math trying to go to the top to side draft, trying to go down to the bottom to get the side draft on Kirchar. But look at the outside line. That's Sean Bounty in the 34 trying to take the race lead back once again with a push from Sabilo, with a push from Levine.
And they are packed in like sardines. Mark Math definitely side drafting or trying to pinch that other line down. Oh, Harris getting into the back of the 91, getting a little bit tight, up almost up into the 199. Middle line going to get the run. But you can tell Harris is really aggressively pushing the 91 right now. And here comes Robert Lawrence to the back end of Brian Whitney. Middle groove seems to be the one to be in. But here, Math thinking about jumping down to the bottom. And he does.
Oh, man, it just seems like Mark Math doesn't know what lane he wants to be in, and I don't blame him. There's 3 equal lines. All throughout the field, Kirchar gets a little contact. Luckily, able to save it. The 55 lets him back in line, and he's just going to have to settle for pushing Mark Math now on the bottom of the racetrack. But look at Brian Whitney in the middle, able to make the move on Mark Math, and is getting help from Robert Lawrence in the middle lane.
Yeah, this is just fantastic racing. You're seeing guys moving all over the place, and that somehow they're keeping it all together as we're now less than 20 to go. Craig Enzak. Oh, there goes Harris out in front of Keegan Sabilo. And the accident has broken out. Caution flag is out. Heavy damage on the 55, as well as the 77. Wow. And I think that came as a result of, we saw Craig Enzak jump down in front of Harris. And I think Harris reacted poorly to that, and that's what caused this.
We're going to have to see just how tight that was. Coming down, Janzak jumps in front of the 55. And yeah, the 55 kind of came up across James South's nose and honestly turned himself into the outside wall. Kind of a tough situation there. I mean, that's just super speedway racing. One guy comes off the bottom of the racetrack, and honestly, South had nowhere to go. He's holding his line there in the middle of the racetrack. That's kind of hard for me to say, but you know, I just feel like looking at the 55 here after Janzak comes down, he kind of clips the 91 just a little bit, sends the 91 up. Maybe the 55 is reacting to that, but you see South never really changes his line. He's kind of holding the middle, and just a little bit of unfortunate contact where it's the right rear of the 55. Sends him up into the 77 to Sabilo. Levine, nowhere to go. The 4 of Hale, nowhere to go. Good job from the driver behind. I think that's the 36. Is that the right number on the top of that race car? Or 56 maybe? I couldn't quite tell what that blue truck is behind, but he did a heck of a job getting on the brakes whenever they started stacking up in the outside line behind him.
Yeah, of course, that's Brad Thacker driving that 56 machine. And unfortunately, Justin Levine, after being involved in the last crash, is involved in this one as well as Keegan Sabilo involved in this one. It's just, just a bad. It just went wrong. I mean, you know, Harris, I think it was the main person kind of that just like he reacted, unfortunately, to look on board with Brian Thacker to see how he reacted to this. Oh, and wow. What heads up driving for the 56? Oh, he still got in it a little bit.
That's baby contact though. That's nothing. What that should have been. I mean, that's heads up driving there from Brad Thacker. I mean, you saw that contact. It was not heavy for Thacker. I'm going to go on board with him just to kind of check his damage. And he's got no damage to the front end of that truck either. So, you know, that little bit of contact is honestly a big nothing. And the 56, he's coming down to check it out just in case. But I think he's going to be good to go without having to use that fast repair.
Yeah, hopefully he checks off the fast repair and, you know, of course, doesn't use it. Of course, Mark Math right now in the lead. What a job from this 199 race car. Let's take a look, though, or let's pay more attention to another one of our partners here in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Of course, that being Green Mountain Grills. We all love barbecue. Green Mountain pellet grills are the top-of-the-line quality grills for all of your grilling needs. GMG also offers the highest quality dry rubs, sauces, and pellets, but not at the highest price. Customers enjoy the best possible grilling experience without breaking the bank. Visit either one of their 1,000 locations across the U.S. or visit them at greenmountaingrills.com for online purchases, recipes, and much more. As it looks like everybody getting geared up for the conclusion to this race. I do believe now less than 20 laps to go. This is when I think things are going to continue to get more and more intense. The more these caution flags as well fly, I think the more anxiety-inducing, you know, the racing is going to continue to get.
I mean, we just saw how absolutely insane that racing was getting. I mean, the 3 wide for the lead was absolutely mental lap after lap. So we're just going to see it get even crazier. I mean, we're probably going to get the restart with 16 to go if I had to bet. I mean, it was just kicking off already. I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to be like here for the last 16 laps. I imagine maybe 3 or 4 more wrecks.
Could very well be the case. I mean, I definitely think we possibly could be getting a green white checkered here. We'll have to wait and see, but I think we're definitely going to get maybe a first time winner. I mean, could very well be the case. We could see this very much shake up as well. The points. I mean, think about this. I mean, when we came into this race, the top 10 in points only separated by, I do believe, around 10 points. I mean, that shows that points pylon is going to be shaken up quite a bit. I think we're going to see possibly a new points leader.
That's what you get with the super speedway style racing. You never know who's going to come out up top, but as soon as we say that, there's still going to be 16 laps to go on the restart, and we very well could get a repeat winner. I mean, somebody like Yanzak, somebody like Levine could come up here and swipe this win away, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit, although it is stacked at the front with a bunch of guys who have not visited victory lane quite yet. So I wouldn't be surprised either if one of them end up pulling through, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see for the last 16 laps of this race. How quick do they get 3 wide on this restart? I'm imagining probably by the middle of the backstretch. I think the time for patience has run out. I'd start worrying if I was some of these guys that have already used that fast repair, though.
Yeah, this is definitely the alarm bells are going off right now, and a lot of these guys that don't have the fast repair left, they're definitely their days are numbered. I'd say in a lot of ways. I mean, there very much could be an accident that takes them out of the race completely. So really going to have to keep an eye on that. For sure. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these guys are probably feeling pretty anxious, a little apprehensive about this restart, and probably the restarts after this as well. But Mark Math, he's probably not feeling too anxious right now. He's up in the front. I mean, seems like that's the place to be to avoid a crash.
You say that, but as soon as they get 3 wide for the race lead, I'm just worried about whoever ends up being in the middle, having to try to control both the lanes on the outside with the side draft. I don't know. I think we're going to see a big accident from the middle of probably the front lane, if I had to bet.
Could very well be the case. And if we go 3x3 for the lead, I mean, and they're all packed in like sardines like we've seen all race long, there might be no one that finishes this race. If they're all piled in like that, it's so incredibly difficult to avoid a crash. As we see the pace car, of course, dipping down pit road, we get ready to go green once again here at Daytona. And Mark Math with the field in hands, green flag is back out. He just does not go. And Brian Whitney, could he get a black flag as he jumps down in front of Matt? I'm curious to see how this turns out.
In sim, I heard the green flag come out before he hit the throttle. I just think Mark Math waited way too late to get going. But look at James South there on the outside. He ducked out from about 5th in line on the outside, trying to become 3rd in line on the outside. Tries to get to the outside of Kirchar. Looks like he's going to be able to do it, even though Kirchar kind of threw a little bit of a hip check coming out of the corner. But look at that outside line. Robert Lorenz has a huge push from Craig Zanzak. And now James South is getting a huge push from behind, trying to get up to these drivers on the outside line.
100%. Robert Lawrence definitely working very well with Craig Ganzak, but here comes Whitney. Whitney, with that restart, does not seem to have gotten a black flag for it. He is, of course, in the lead at the moment with the help of Mark Math. Kevin Kirchar, of course, has been running up in the top 10 all race long. He's looking like he might be in contention to win as well. We see Sean Bounty trying to take it easy, not really pushing the issue too much, but I know eventually, soon, we're going to see these guys start to push that issue as Mark Math hits the apron just a hair. Kind of slides up a little bit, but luckily we stay green. No issues so far, but you can definitely tell the intensity is rising.
A couple drivers towards the back of the outside line are trying to make a 3rd line work. Levine trying to get to the outside of Lucido, but it looks like the 7 of Meeks is going to put it down to the inside of Levine and kind of force him into that outside line. But Hale is now looking to the outside with Levine. It depends. Can that other Grid Vision car get out to the outside, or does he stay in the middle and pull the middle with him? It doesn't look like the cars on the outside are going to have enough help. But up towards the front of the field, Whitney and Lorenz are still side by side.
And look at that. We were talking about Justin Levine. Wilson wanting to help him. It looks like William Mann Jr. has elected to work with the 33 of Levine. Let's see if they're going to be able to make a run happen. As there goes South. South thinking about it. I'm sure they're communicating over the comms, but it looks like South not going to jump up. Look at the run this top line's got with Levine behind William Mann Jr. Looks like Tyler Meeks liking what he sees. He joins as well.
Yeah, that outside line is coming. Levine's all over the back bumper of Mann Jr. in the 29, trying to get the outside line even. Mark Math comes off the bottom of the racetrack and almost gets into the side of the 3, but it looks like that outside line is absolutely rolling.
And look at that. William Mann Jr. jumps down in front of Craig Ganzak, leaving Levine. I don't think that was a good idea. I know he's trying to play a game with both lines. This could be the counter peg or the powder keg exploding here. Oh, this is getting close. Yanzak and Mann almost touching doors here. As here comes a big run from the bottom, Robert Lawrence with Brian Whitney. They are looking like rocket ships on the bottom line.
Yeah, they are stacked up 3 wide all throughout the field, just trying to make whatever they can happen. But man, there's still 13 laps to go. There's still plenty of time. You got to think. But oh, Mark Math kind of gets shuffled out of line by the 91 of Kirchar, and he's going to have to drop down to the back of the field, it looks like, before he gets down into turn 3. Some guys trying to leave him some room on the inside, but tough break there for Mark Math, who still is not back on the racetrack. Finally blends back up, but he might end up losing the draft. I think he waited a little too late.
That would definitely be unfortunate. Was running really good up here in the lead, and hopefully he's going to have to, see if he can maybe latch himself onto the back of this pack, as we still see 3 wide for right now. I do believe 3rd place or 2nd place. Craig Yanzak still working that middle groove with now James South. Oh, Kirchar getting incredibly close to the 3. A lot of these guys seem like they're maybe verging on tight, or could it even be that they're trying to maybe regulate the temperature of their engines? That's something we really haven't talked a whole lot about here tonight. You can see a lot of these guys dipping out a little bit, maybe to get some clean air on the nose, but it looks like Kirchar decided to jump out in front of Yanzak to see if he can push him to the lead.
Yeah, they're trying to get that middle line working. Kirchar jumped to the outside, trying to get there to Yanzak, and Yanzak kind of, oh man, he just got clear, or Mann Jr. just got clear and able to duck down to the middle, get a little bit of draft, and he might dip back up to the top to give Levine a little bit of air just for a little bit, but it looks like he's actually committed to the middle lane. But Kirchar to the race lead with that heavy move on the backstretch. Great push there from the 3 of Yanzak.
No, that definitely a really awesome push there for Yanzak, and it looks like Kirchar back down to the bottom. A little bit of indecisiveness. He tried to jump back up in front of Craig Yanzak, but Yanzak had so much momentum that he really couldn't do it. That's one thing about plate racing. You got to when you choose your moves, you got to make sure that it's not too late. You cannot be indecisive.
So here comes the outside line. Justin Levine with a huge push from Hale. Man, they've come from absolutely nowhere on this last lap, and now Levine ducks down to the middle lane to get a push from the 3 of Yanzak. Now he's to the outside of the 91. Oh, they turn! The Kirchar comes up in the middle of the racetrack, and a huge wreck happens behind him.
And the yellow flag, of course, flies. Huge wreck, as we see a ton of drivers involved in this. As William Mann Jr., pretty much, I think, the one that got out of it the cleanest. The entire field essentially involved in this crash. Wow. William Mann Jr., of course, still having some damage on that race car, but he was kind of the last man standing in that crash. We see, of course, a lot of guys still moving, so it's not over yet, but I know a lot of fast repairs are pretty much going to be used there. And look at that. You see Kirchar came up, and unfortunately came up with just a little too far and just set off the dynamite.
Yeah, it almost like there was maybe a little bit of netcode to start that incident off too. Obviously, Levine's coming down to side draft. Kirchar kind of widened out the exit of the corner, but it was at the same time that Levine was coming down to side draft. It almost felt like 2 drivers just going for the same bit of space at the same time. And then, I don't know, from my end, it looked like there was still a little bit of room whenever the first contact got made. Maybe this is a better angle where we can kind of check it out from a driver from behind. But you can see Kirchar shift up the racetrack a little bit, but again, I don't know. I really got to say it's just 2 guys going for the same piece of real estate, but I don't know. Obviously, Levine's coming down to side draft, which everybody's been doing crazy side draft moves the whole night, and Kirchar's trying to defend from it, but unfortunately, whenever a wreck happens up there towards the front of the field, it's going to collect a lot of drivers, as we just saw.
I mean, what a show there. What a perspective from William Mann Jr.'s cockpit. I mean, we saw literally everybody wrecking there, and he barely missed, I believe, Brian Whitney there at the last second. As we take yet another look at this is probably the biggest crash we've seen here in Champion Power Equipment Truck Series history. As we see, of course, Kirchar getting a little bit tight. Maybe, like you said, maybe some net code. Let's look at that. Robert Lawrence almost had this missed, and unfortunately not the case. Is watching Whitney, of course, sideways. And there's, Taylor hitting Lawrence. And there's Lucido. Almost, if he had hit the brake just a little bit, I think Lucido might have got through that a little bit better. But look at this. William Mann Jr., he was taking some evasive maneuvers, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and Andrew Hale right here getting through. I don't know if he had any contact earlier in that before we switched over to him, but it looked like he did a good job getting through there on the back end. But unfortunately, a lot of people had already used their fast repairs, so it'll be interesting to see who's left out of that.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're going to see what if Hale maybe had got out of this a little bit easier than everybody else. And no, he did get some damage, that's for
Oh
sure,
yeah, for sure.
into the outside wall. So he did not get out of this clean. I think everybody in this wreck, everybody in the field, I should say, had some sort of damage as a result of this accident.
I definitely have to say it was most of the field, just about all of it. Somebody, I'd say the big winner out of that is probably Mark Math. He had lost the draft, I do believe, off that move on the backstretch. And that caution kind of saves him, and because so many people were involved, he's now jumped all the way up to 7th place, so really good for Mark Math. A couple of new contenders up towards the front, Jessica Childs. Brian Whitney's been up here the whole time, and he's now in P2. Meyer in 3rd, Wynn in 4th. Sabilo back up to 5th after getting involved earlier, so good to see a couple of new faces up front. We're just going to have to see how they do coming to, I don't know, we'll probably have 7 to go at the green flag.
Definitely curious. I mean, to see these new drivers out front. I mean, and to see some of these trucks still running. Whitney was definitely involved in that last crash, but it seems like he's still running. Must have had a faster pair left. So anybody that had one left after that last crash probably has a lot better of a shot to win this race. It looks like Jessica Childs' car's pretty clean. Robert Wynn looks pretty clean. I'd say Brandon Ball. I mean, still a lot of clean trucks. Surprising to see how severe that crash was. As of course, I do believe pace car lights, I think, have gone out, and we're getting ready to get this thing back underway once again.
Been a crazy race so far. Can't wait to see what it has in store for us over these last 7 laps whenever we take the green flag. I mentioned I believe it was the last caution, we're probably going to get 3 or 4 more wrecks. That was the first one. I expect to see probably 1 more before we get the green-white checkers going, and then probably at least 1 during the green-white checkers. Just with how hard everybody's pushing, trying to get this race win, I just would not be surprised to see a little bit more happen.
No, I definitely think you're right. I definitely think that some things are still going to happen. I don't think we're done with that caution flag quite yet. And but this next wreck will end some races. I tell you that. As we see, everybody is still on the lead lap, which is kind of crazy. Just considering we saw how massive of a crash that was, you would think some guys would be a lap down. Of course, Justin Levine is last right now, trying to get a lot of damage repaired on that race car, as well as you see Craig Ganzak was getting some damage repaired. I mean, a lot of these guys spending over a minute getting some repairs done, but they are on the lead lap still.
Yeah, honestly, still just about anybody's race. I think there's a couple people that are probably kicking themselves for having to use that fast repair earlier that are now maybe a little down on power, a little bit at an aero disadvantage here coming to the end of this race. But maybe they could still be good pushers with the way that the trucks are bogged down in terms of horsepower at the super speedways. Maybe somebody with a little bit of nose damage could still push, but it'd be tough to lead with a lot of nose damage like we see from somebody like Levine towards the back of the pack. But the leaders coming out of turn number 4. We're going to see the pace car dive off, coming to 7 laps to go. Who's it going to be? Jessica Childs, Brian Whitney, Nathan Meyer, Robert Wynn, or is it going to be somebody from outside the top 4?
I'm going to go with Mark Math. I'm going Mark Math. Green flag is out as we, of course, get ready to conclude this race here. Really good start for Brian Whitney. Unfortunately, Robert Wynn did not get going fast enough to really back up the 30 machine. Keegan Sabilo, of course, going to push the 16 of Whitney, or Wynn, I should say, to get up to Whitney. But Jessica Childs, really good run on the bottom. Oh, Sabilo jumps down, switches lines. He, of course, is going to be in front of Math now. But top line almost non-existent when it comes to speed.
Yeah, but look at Jessica Childs on the inside getting pushed from Nathan Meyer, and it looks like Brandon Ball's going to jump to the outside with Sabilo. Now they're 2x2 for the race lead, but man, look at the Hornet's Nest behind them going down into turn 3. I mean, they're just about 4 wide in the middle of the corner. Oh, the 15 gets turned into the wall. Multiple drivers on the outside wall, but it looks like everybody's going to save it, but they do throw the caution flag.
And of course, the 15 of Jason Taylor looks like he was involved with George Young, the 48, and caution flag will fly. And I don't believe that will. I think we're still not going to be in the territory of the green-white checkered. You see, like you were saying, 4 wide racing right here. And unfortunately, Daytona, not enough room to really make 4 wide happen. Of course, there is, but barely. Talladega, you can make it pretty comfortable, but not here at this racetrack. It can barely handle 3. As you can see right here, Hale was up on the top. Unfortunately, look at the dodging there for Andrew Hale. They would really get by that.
Right front damage, though, unfortunately. I think he backed into, or he got into the back of the 48, but it looked like the 15 just kind of, I don't know. I know they weren't 4 wide whenever they made contact, but they were for a moment, and he just kind of drifted up the racetrack. But I hate to see that. I mean, he had his bumper in front of the 48, but it's not like the 48 got into his right rear quarter panel, so it's weird to see it turn that inside truck into the wall like that. I feel like that kind of door contact shouldn't cause the the driver on the inside to float up into the outside wall like that. It should just be able to rub doors a little bit going into the corner and bounce off, but it just seems that they got hooked together, and unfortunately there was nowhere for or no way for either of them to react after that point. But I feel like that should have come off a little bit easier than what it did.
No, I definitely agree. I think that shouldn't have been as big of a deal as it was. Of course, they were 4 wide. It could have been much worse though. We could have seen a lot more race car get involved in that. I mean, when you're 4 wide, usually you see multiple people involved in the crash. But luckily, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Of course, we are less than 5 laps to go. I think we're going to have probably a natural green-white checkered, possibly not a, of course, full green-white checkered to where we will be counting those, but still Brandon Ball at the in the lead at the time of the caution. So let's see what he's going to be able to do in that 17 machine. Of course, Jessica Childs was looking really strong on the bottom side, but Ball being pushed, I do believe, by Sabilo, had a heck of a run. He's definitely one that I think has been flying under the radar here tonight. Haven't talked a whole lot about Ball in quite some time in Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. I mean, I know in seasons past, he has definitely shown glimmers of speed, but I think he's definitely got a good shot at it here tonight. But here we go. Let's see what we got here. Let's dial up, possibly while we got a little bit of some time. Let's dial up James South.
Interesting.
All right, we got a little bit of time here. James South, do you read us?
I guess. What's up?
Hey, we're definitely glad to have you in the booth. We were just curious. You know, there's been a lot of accidents, a lot of things been going on out there. What has been going on from your perspective? How's the truck been handling?
Truck's been handling. I mean, I don't even know. I'm just trying to stay. Holy crap, stay clean. You can see my nerves are shot right now. Just trying to maintain my line and keep it clean out here. But plan is just to, I don't know, run the top and go to the front.
And it definitely seems like it's been quite scary out there for sure. I mean, I know that first crash or that last crash, not the last one, the one before that one, involved in almost the entire field. You know, what was that like from your perspective?
Well, yeah, I was nervous. I was like a ping pong or just in the middle, trying not to wreck anybody on the outside, and I ended up getting wrecked. It came out of nowhere, and I knew it was going to happen, but good thing I had that free repair that I had to use, and it's going to burn it up.
Well, definitely glad you still had that in the bank. We wish you the best of luck, even though Austin Edstrom doesn't wish you the best of luck. I know pace car lights, I think, are going out here. We'll let you get back to it. Thanks for your time, James.
Appreciate it.
That was James South, driver of the 21. Luckily, he had a fast repair. That was kind of interesting to see. Of course, he doesn't have one now, right?
Yeah, no kidding. But this is coming to the time where even if you had it, if you got wrecked, you'd have to use it and follow all the way to the back of the pack anyway. So it's balls to the wall at this point. You know, you got 3 laps to go. Hopefully we can run this thing to the checkers. I think that if we can get a good 3-lap stint right here, it'll be a really good show. Obviously, everybody's going to be going absolutely crazy, balls to the wall, taking every single run that they got, whether they're in the middle lane and the inside lane. We're going to see some crazy stack ups. Anytime there's a checkup in front of you, you know, with 30 laps to go, the guy behind is going to brake a little bit, let you back in. But with 3 laps to go, if you get out of line, if you check up a little bit, that guy behind you is going to use that run to their advantage every single time. And they should. And we're going to see a lot of that here with 3 laps to go.
Of course, last restart, restart, we saw 4 wide. Could we see that again? I think it's definitely a distinct possibility of that being the case. As, of course, the pace car lights are out. Jessica Childs not quite getting up to the first place driver's door there. I'm wondering why that is. That could definitely cause a little bit of somewhat of an obstacle for the other drivers that are on the top line. I know it is very difficult, I'd say, to start from that outside pole, if you will, the second place position. A lot of times it's hard to see when that other driver goes. It looks like she is going to get caught back up to the 17 here. The pace car is going to be getting ready to go down pit road as we get ready to start this 3-lap shootout to the end of the race. And here we go. Entering the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out in the air once again. Brandon Ball with a really good start. Of course, catches Keegan Sabilo and the top line off. Looks like Nathan Meyer decided not to push Childs. Oh, and there goes problems, and there we are. Another accident involving Childs. And unfortunately, the caution flag is back out.
Yeah, I got to say, Mark Math, I guess, didn't know they were 3 wide because he was 3 wide bottom and didn't hold the yellow line whatsoever. Just kind of came up and popped whoever was in the middle up into Jessica Childs. Unfortunately, we're going to watch the replay right here. Yeah, I mean, Mark Math came up whenever they were 3 wide, and then Meyer came down a little bit, but, I mean, Mark didn't leave him much room in the middle to make it work. If I'm 3 wide, I'm going to be holding the yellow line. So at the end of the day, it's not like he just came up and took him out. He did come up and hold his line, but I feel like you got to give the guy in the middle a little bit more room as we get another overhead view. You see Mark come up, and I mean, yeah, there's no room for Nathan Meyer there, even though he's there the entire time. So I think Jessica Childs came down a little bit, Jessica Childs came down a little bit, but Mark Math had a lot of room down to the apron also. And like I said, if I'm 3 wide at a super speedway, I'm holding that inside line.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I 100% agree. I mean, if you looked at that, Math had car length and more down to the yellow line. He had plenty of room, so it wasn't like he was being squeezed or anything like that. And Meyer, was well within his rights to take it 3 wide there. So I don't think Meyer really did anything wrong at all. I think that's more on Math, and it's unfortunate to say, but that's just the way. That's just the breaks, I guess you could say. Is of course we're going to start. Green, white, checkered, number 1. Before we get there, though, we'll take one step away, and we'll be right back with the conclusion here at Daytona.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grid Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. Austin Edstrom is my co-commentator. Austin Darbyshire down behind the cameras. We are going to be starting green-white checkered attempt number 1 out of 2. So, of course, we do have another one that is could very well happen, Austin. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, we've seen a lot of, I'd say, hectic racing. Exciting. It's been entertaining, that's for sure, but it's definitely been hectic.
And I don't think that we're done being hectic. I mean, I think there's still a lot to happen here in this this event. I believe on that accident, Mark Matt did a good job not actually stopping or getting slowed down, and it actually was able to give him his position back, but he does have a good bit of damage on that left front fender. Is he still going to be a good pusher? Can he lead with that? So it's going to be kind of a big question mark there on the inside line. If I was Brandon Ball, I'd be a little bit nervous seeing that that nose all crinkled up in my back bumper, but Keegan Sabilo has found his way onto the outside of the front row, coming to the first green white checkered. Can he make a move to do it after he started in the pit lane and win a lap down early? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely could be definitely a possibility there for Sabilo. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, pace car is dipping down pit road as Brandon Ball has the field in hand, and here we go into the green-white checkered number 1. Green flag is out as Brandon Ball up through the gears, but Sabilo kind of beat him to the start-finish line and actually was ahead of him in the Geico restart zone. I'm hoping that there's no penalties here, but here comes 3 wide from Sean Boundy. Not a lot of help, but he's definitely trying still.
Yeah, Sean Boundy was not waiting whatsoever, but that middle line looks pretty good there with Sabilo leading it and Meyer pushing, and they've got Robert Lawrence right behind in tow, and that middle line is really going, but Nathan Meyer goes down to the inside. Sabilo tries to block, not able to do it. He's going to have to go back up to the outside line, get a push from Lawrence, and try to get going once again.
Side by side right now for second place, or actually for the lead, as Meyer jumped down in front of Brandon Ball. Can Ball get the 24 up to speed here as Sabilo, of course, leads us to possibly the white flag. Do we make it there? As we see 3 wide in the mid-pack, Craig Ganzak making some big moves through the middle with the aid of Brad, I believe, Thacker. And white flag is out. Next one will end it. Oh, and we got problems from Robert Wynn. He, of course, is spinning out. And there we go, James Harris, huge hit on the outside wall. Is going to collect Craig Ganzak. Still side by side for the lead as Robert Lawrence. Where did he come from?
Lawrence is on the inside, Sabilo on the outside, going down into turn 3 there, side by side, racing hard, trying to get to the checkered flag first. When does Lucido pop out? It's now! It's way too early from Lucido, I gotta think, on the outside line, but he's putting them 3 wide as Lawrence is now through to the race lead. Can Nathan Meyer make the move? Does he have the run? He jumps out to the outside of Lucido, gets a bump, gets a little bit of a push. Lucido makes contact. Does Meyer get to the checkered flag first? No! It's gonna be the 5 of Robert Lawrence winning at Daytona.
Wow, what a run for Robert Lawrence in the 5 machine. Came out of nowhere. I didn't even notice him until that last lap, and he, of course, had worked his way all the way up to the front row. And what a move, I got to say, for John Lucido. Lucido was giving it his all on that last lap. As we take another look back at it, and look at that, you see James Harris. Big wiggles, unfortunately collects Craig Ganzak there. Wow, that, of course, is going to take them out of the top 10. But Robert Lawrence came out of nowhere to win this race. It's going to be a huge points day for the 5 machine. It's pretty much who could weather the storm the best, and Lawrence was able to do it.
Yeah, he made a great move there on the last lap, just getting out of the inside line. And I feel like the outside line might have had something for them, but they just kind of got a little discombobulated in the middle of 3 and 4. Instead of pushing, somebody tried to make a move, or Lucido tried to make the move a little early around Sabilo. I just feel like that was maybe a little bit too early to try to make it 3 wide. I think you got to get that momentum coming off the corner before you try to do that, but it ended up working out for the 5 of Lawrence. Nathan Meyer with a good finish for second, just about tied Thacker for third. So really good showing there from the 5, 24 and 56.
No, that's definitely a very good point. You see, of course, the gap right there between Thacker and Lucido was, I do believe, registered in the thousands range. I mean, that was very, very close for third place. That could have went either way, but of course, now that Lawrence, of course, has done a lot of his celebrating, let's take a look at the final results here. Robert Lawrence, your winner here. Second place, Nathan Meyer. Third place, Brad Thacker. Fourth place, John Lucido. What an aggressive set of moves he was putting on there on that last lap. Fifth place, Keegan Sobilo. Looked like, I'd say, coming to the white flag, he had a really good shot at it, and unfortunately, guys left him hanging high and dry. Sixth place, Brandon Ball. Seventh place, James South. Eighth place, Tyler Meeks. Ninth, Mark Math. And 10th, Justin Levine. Good recovery for Levine.
11th is going to be William Mann Jr. 12th, Robert Wynn. 13th, Jessica Childs. 14th, James Harris. 15th, Andrew Hale. 16th is Brian Whitney, followed by Craig Yanzak in 17th, Sean Bounty in 18th, Kevin Kerchar in 19th, Jason Taylor in 20th, and George Young in 21st.
And that is a look top to bottom at our 24 driver field here. Definitely fantastic performance. We're going to go ahead and go right into the interviews for today's race. And we'll start off with Brad Thacker. All right, we got him here in the booth. Brad Thacker, driver of the 56. Fantastic performance here tonight, Brad. I mean, it definitely got very, I'd say, sticky there towards the end. Walk us through what happened there.
Well, I had my eyes closed the last lap. No, it was, I don't know, 16th again, taking the green-white checker just like last time we was at a super speedway. And tucked in the middle, found a hole, went in behind Craig, and he got into James. I think the seas parted, and I went up the middle, and my arch nemesis was in front of me again coming to the finish line of Robbie Lawrence. And I was going to dump him this time, but I've just run out of room and ended up third. That was a crazy race. I hope it was exciting for y'all as it was for us. And I have to take a break after this and settle down.
I bet you do. I mean, it definitely was very exciting for us up here in the booth. I mean, we were kind of speechless, for sure, on how this whole entire race went. I mean, it was just so exciting the entire time. I mean, I'm surprised you guys weren't about to have aneurysms or out here from how exciting it was.
Man, it's it can be nerve-wracking. 3 wide at Daytona is pretty tight for me. I mean, I've seen pros do better, but yeah, it's kind of hard in the middle of the turn, wondering if someone's going to come down on you or you're going to drift up into them. And I don't know, I've had enough of it. I'm good. Take me a break, and I'll see y'all next week. But yeah, it was a rough night.
Yeah, definitely not a rough night when it comes to points. I think you're going to be probably jumping up, I'd say, a couple spots after tonight's finish here in third place. Definitely fantastic job. Who can we give a shout out to after your third place finish?
Champion. Always champion, man. We couldn't do this without them putting it on. Kevin, Blackstone Management, Green Mountain Grills, all those guys. Every week we get to go out and have fun and hopefully put on a good show for y'all. And, of course, we always appreciate you with the broadcast.
All right. Well, definitely appreciate you putting on a good show there, Brad. We'll see you next week.
All right. Good night. Go Rangers.
All righty. That was Brad Thacker, driver of the 56 machine. Definitely a fantastic performance there for him. Next up, Austin Edstrom standing by with Nathan Meyer, driver of the 24.
Nathan, I thought you were going to get it coming off of 4. It looked like you were in prime position to make the move. Just couldn't quite get the help that you needed out of the corner. What more did you need to maybe get this one position better?
Yeah, I think I was lacking a little push that first lap up to the caution, and then I think it was Lucido coming up high, and I think he might have bumped Robbie there at the end, give him a little speed boost, but almost had it. If I just would have had that black car stay with me, would have been a lot closer.
Yeah, for sure. You still got to think. Great night in the points. Put you in a really good position for the points going forward. Can you use this momentum going forward? I know it's a super speedway, so it's kind of hard to necessarily translate it to other tracks, but can you use the momentum from a good finish like this tonight to kind of propel you through the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think so. I actually don't like restriction plate, or not restriction plate, but I don't like Daytona, Talladega. I think it's too stressful, everyone all over the place. I don't love these tracks, but to finish second is pretty good considering how much I don't like coming here.
Could have fooled me tonight. It looked like you were up front for a good portion of it and found your way back up to the front towards the end. So, looking forward on the schedule, where do you think is your best opportunity to get a victory?
Yeah, I definitely think Kentucky, Homestead, and then Charlotte at the end are my favorites. I tend to like the intermediate tracks more than the tracks like this or the short ones. So hopefully I'll be good there. But end of the year, Charlotte, I love that track, so should be good.
That makes sense. I remember seeing you pretty quick at Texas. So
yeah.
But can you give us any shout-outs here at the end of the interview?
Yeah, just thank you guys for putting this on, and Champion Power Equipment for letting us do this, and all those guys there. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate that, and congratulations on your P2 finish.
Thanks, man.
All right, that was P2 finisher Nathan Meyer. Next up, we're going to have Brian Britt standing by with race winner Robert Lawrence.
All right, we got him here in the booth. Robert, definitely fantastic performance there. I tell you, be honest with you, when that white flag flew, I wasn't thinking about you at all. Where did you come from? I mean, we didn't even notice you until the last second. It's like, there's Robert Lawrence right there.
Well, I was just biding my time, hanging out on that high line, just kind of seeing where it was going to go, and I slowly and surely pushed Keegan up out far enough in front that I got underneath him, and just kind of played that which lane was going to have the most momentum come to the end there, and somehow I lucked out.
Yeah, that definitely seems like you lucked out for sure. But I mean, then again, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you had to avoid a lot of these crashes as well. I mean, that takes some skill for sure. I mean, there was a lot of, I'd say, intense crashes. You know, how did you avoid some of them? I mean, I know a lot of guys probably out of fast pairs there at the end. Were you out of one too, or did you have one left?
I had to use mine after that one pile up that it was like 15 laps to go or something like that. That caught pretty much everyone up. I had to use mine up there, and from there I knew I needed to just be cautious and kind of use that sixth sense that you end up gaining if you do enough of these races. You get that little sixth sense, like something's not quite right here. And had to listen to that a few times, and finally I just said, all right, it's time to go, and I made the moves I needed to try to put myself into position, and yeah, here I am, somehow lucked my way into it.
Well, you definitely lucked your way into it. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think it's 50% luck and 50% decision making usually when it comes to tracks like this. So you made some decisions that did lead to you, of course, winning this race, and I know you needed the points as well. Because I mean, looking at the points pylon here, I mean, you're far down the running order there in the points. So hopefully you can kind of turn this into some momentum for the rest of the season. Of course, next week Lucas Oil. How you feeling about that? Much different racetrack than Daytona.
Oh yeah, it's a 180. You're going from full blown draft to trying to. You don't really need a whole lot of fender to keep going around that track. So I enjoy that track. It's one of my on the upper side of my favorite tracks. So, and I'm all right there. I wouldn't say I'm overly great, but I have a few good teachers I could lean on and kind of get a couple extra pointers. But it should be a good track for us. Yeah, I keep working at the points. I missed a race, so I got to keep ticking away at the points and trying to see if I can, shove my way up there. This definitely helps, and see if I can't maybe knock another one off next week.
Well, we definitely look forward to seeing that. Who can we give a shout out to after this big victory?
Oh, well, thank you, Champion, for sponsoring. Champion for sponsoring the whole league. Thank you guys for dealing with our shenanigans week in, week out. I got a big thanks to RaceEPI.com. It's a shop I run for, and a big group of guys that are another family. And Mardon PC for any kind of PC work, and yeah, thanks everyone that's involved.
All right, Robert. Well, thanks for your time, and hopefully we'll get to see you next week and maybe back in victory lane.
Hopefully, thank you.
All right, that was Robert Lawrence, driver of the 55 machine. Definitely, I didn't know where he came from, but I tell you what, he crossed the line first, and that's all that matters. What a race it was here. We saw, I mean, if this wasn't entertaining, I don't know what entertaining is. I mean, I'll tell you, these guys were 3 wide, 4 wide, almost the entire race. I mean, there was never a point in this race where I think anybody was saying, oh, I'll just turn some laps. Don't you think, Austin? I don't think that ever crossed anybody's mind out here tonight.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm kind of in awe because that race was absolutely insane. Every time I looked up, it seemed like somebody new was up towards the front of the field. Looked like somebody new was spinning out of the pack, and that green-white checkered was absolute mayhem. So congratulations to Robert Lawrence coming through for the victory. He's talking about a little bit of luck, but he made a great move on the outside to get himself clear to be able to duck down to the inside and take the race lead, coming to one to go. So, big congrats to the driver of the 5 and the couple of other podium finishers here tonight.
Yeah, definitely big congratulations to those guys for sure. As we're watching back some of the replays there of that last lap, just shenanigans. It was awesome to watch. You see your winner on the screen, Robert Lawrence. Could have easily went another way there for him. But now that we've finished this race, let's take a look at the future for the rest of the week here and see exactly what kind of other exciting racing that we have on the docket. Of course, we just completed the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series race here at Daytona. Gonna not have anything going on tomorrow, so definitely enjoy your Wednesday. Thursday, we're gonna be at Richmond Raceway in the SSRL Truck Series, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, Friday, me and Austin Edstrom is gonna be on the call there at Las Vegas. Of course, that's going to be a fun one for sure. There's going to be a lot of 2-3 wide there at that racetrack as well. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, top split NIS. Of course, Sunday, we're going to have a doubleheader of some racing. Las Vegas Motor Speedway going to be making a return appearance there at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Global Racing Truck Series. And, of course, later that night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to see the RGR Kalu Glass Cup Xfinity Series as well at Las Vegas. So definitely tune in for that one. And, of course, that brings us to the conclusion of the schedule. So definitely a whole another week of some action on the dock. But with that, I think that brings us to the conclusion of the broadcast as well tonight of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series on Grid Vision. Congratulations once again to Robert Lawrence for picking up the win, and what a exciting race this was. And to be able to win something like that, he's definitely going to be looking back on this one, I think, for sure. We want to thank everyone as well that tuned in tonight. I want to thank my co-commentator, Austin Edstrom, our producer, Austin Derbyshire, as well as anyone else that's involved with the Grid Vision family. My name is Brian Britt, and I'll see you next time.